Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel, The Primordial Law. Volume 4, Xuansheng Dao Sect Twin Rice Sect. Chapter 106 361 The Taishi Clan's Night Banquet. 106th of Volume 4. Translator, Shadow Knight AK. Editor, Shadow Knight AK. The moment the formation opened, Li Waiyi swiftly retreated, taking a roundabout route to avoid being followed back to the Cloud Pavilion district. Publicly using the myriad manifestation staff spear wasn't a big deal. He'd only used it once, and it was obscured by the ghost mist and scorching gaze radiance. Even if anyone had noticed, Li Waiyi wasn't afraid. He'd considered all possible consequences. News of the afternoon's events at Pale Moon Square spread quickly, causing a stir throughout Lingxiao City. But the main topic of conversation remained Song Qingli. That evening, Taishi Cheng Dao, the current clan head of the Taishi clan, hosted a grand welcoming banquet at the Ancestral Manor for the retainers and spiritual masters who had arrived from South Yan Pass. Hundreds of servants and maids bustled about, swiftly presenting dishes, precious herbs, spirit fruits, and thousand-year-old wines. There were even soups made from millennial essence herbs and dishes prepared with meat from immortal realm demonic beasts. For a clan that had existed for 1,000 years, only the descendants of immortal realm giants were considered the main branch, the rest were side branches. As for the transcendent descendants, the entire clan was considered transcendent. Currently, the Taishi clan has only two main branches, Taishi Qingkangs and Taishi Qingshis, both holding the position of clan head. However, Taishi Qingkang is stationed at South Yan Pass, and his direct descendants within 3 generations are few. Consequently, most of the Ancestral Manor's residents belong to Taishi Qingshi's branch. As for the 1,000-year-old ancestor, Duke Taishi, he spends most of his time in Yang Province, the Taishi clan's ancestral homeland and foundation, located in the Eastern Territory. As a result, almost all officials in Yang and Liang provinces are affiliated with the Taishi clan, much like the Zhang clan in Fu Prefecture and the Chen clan in Yu Prefecture. The only transcendent figures who permanently reside in Lingxiao City, aside from the 3 reclusive palace masters, are the embroidered robe divine guard's blood-clad chief, Yi Xuanming, and the Ministry of Works, Cao Caishan. Taishi Cheng Dao, now 72 years old, should have retired long ago to focus on cultivating immortal realm, passing the clan head position to the current first commander. However, Taishi Yu, known for his frivolous and carefree nature, shows no interest in clan affairs and refuses to take over. At the banquet, Li Waiyi was granted the highest honor of sitting at the head table with Taishi Cheng Dao, Taishi Bai, and Long Shangsen. This was because he had blocked Taishi Yu's psychic power shout, leaving everyone in awe. Recognized for his talent and strength, Li Waiyi was granted the right to sit at the same table as the clan heads of the world's most prestigious clans, surpassing all other retainers. Taishi Cheng Dao sighed deeply. Xiao Bai, you must cultivate diligently and form your Dao fruit as soon as possible. Only then can I pass on my burdens to you. If you delay any longer, the urgency to break through to the immortal realm will only grow more pressing after 80. This isn't like the old days. Lingxiao Palace no longer has immortality pills, and Calamity Crossing Temple has sent them all to the Zuaoqiu clan. Taishi Bai asked anxiously, has second uncle still not returned? The second palace master summoned him personally, likely to question him about the mother-child spring. I heard that all the immortal realm giants from various clans have been summoned to Phoenix Terrace, Taishi Cheng Dao said, his face etched with worry. Murmurs arose among the retainers, discussing the events that had unfolded that afternoon in Pale Moon Square. Li Waiyi frowned. So the news has spread so widely. The incident has had such a significant impact. The others present were unaware that the other protagonist of the incident was sitting right beside them. An elderly retainer with white hair spoke solemnly. The ghost infant incident reportedly began 2 months ago, but it was dismissed as mere rumors. This time, however, it happened in Pale Moon Square, right before everyone's eyes. How can they possibly cover this up? Someone else added, moreover, the one involved is the top young master of the West Sea Royal Manor, king of the Western Sea's favorite 5th-generation granddaughter, and a disciple of the 3rd palace master. The impact will likely spread throughout the 8 prefectures of the world very quickly. Taishi Bai said gravely, Song Yulu's 60th birthday is in 2 days. He's the leader of Lingxiao City's 10 young masters and the strongest cultivator below the immortal realm listed in the Jiazi register. The West Sea Royal Manor was sure to be packed with guests, and every family in Lingxiao City would have attended to pay their respects. Now that this scandal has erupted, should the birthday celebration even proceed? Li Waiyi had underestimated the impact of this incident, realizing that his identity would likely be exposed soon. Outside the hall where the banquet was being held, a hearty laugh rang out. The 60th birthday celebration has been in preparation for months. How can we just call it off? I just visited the West Sea Royal Manor. Miss Song has regained partial consciousness. Once she's fully awake and appears at the birthday banquet, the rumors will be dispelled. Who can prove that the person seen at Pale Moon Square wasn't someone else in disguise? Tai Shi Yu entered, smiling. Esteemed guests, I'm speaking frankly because I consider you all family. If any of you spread this, you'll no longer be considered part of the Tai Shi clan's inner circle. Tai Shi Yu scanned the crowd, meticulously noting every subtle shift in their expressions. He continued, after the ghost infant incident, Song Qingli was confined to her home. The reason she appeared at Pale Moon Square today was due to internal manipulation within the West Sea Royal Manor, leading to an unforeseen incident on the way. When I arrived, the courtyard was littered with over a dozen severed heads. The West Sea Royal Manor had purged many within its ranks. Everyone present sensed the underlying tension in Tai Shi Yu's words, as if he were hinting at something. A strange atmosphere settled over the banquet. Tai Shi Bai's face stiffened. Tai Shi Yu, are you implying that someone among the retainers I brought here is suspicious? I said no such thing. Tai Shi Yu chuckled, then walked to the main table. He tapped the head of an elderly retainer seated beside Li Wei, signaling him to rise. The elder, unwilling to offend him, stood up and left. Tai Shi Yu sat down and continued, but the demon clan is rising again, massing troops in the Western Territory. Heretical sects have cultivated grave mounds and tombstones across several prefectures using demonic techniques. The Zuoqiu clan, backed by the Calamity Crossing Temple, harbors ambitious designs. The Snow Sword Tang Court, commanding the armies of the 5 prefectures in the Northern Territory, stands poised to strike south at any moment. The Tai Shi clan controls half of the defensive formations of Lingxiao City and the 4 Great Passes, and also governs Yang and Liang provinces. With such immense power, it's only natural that some individuals with ulterior motives have infiltrated our ranks. Tai Shi Bai said, are you targeting me, or the people I brought? Tai Shi Yu shook his head and chuckled. Brother Bai, it's not me targeting you. Someone is targeting the Tai Shi clan. Why did the Grand Temple of Eternal Harmony have an incident? To tie down father and leave him overwhelmed. Why was Liang Prefecture's provincial city attacked by a transcendent demon clan force? To keep Ancestor from returning to Lingxiao City. Let me be clear, if anyone you brought mysteriously disappears or dies, don't get angry. If we two were to fight, it would be considered internal strife, and countless people would secretly rejoice. Li Wei was secretly surprised. The first commander of the Tai Shi clan didn't seem as frivolous as he appeared. But why would he suddenly make such a blunt statement in front of everyone? Had he already seen through something and was trying to lure out his enemies? Clan head Tai Shi Chengdao quickly stood up to smooth things over and ease the tension. He ordered the servants to present the welcome gifts prepared for all the spiritual masters and retainers. Each spiritual master received a star spiritual pill worth 100,000 Xuanhuan coins. Each retainer received a millennial essence herbs, also worth 100,000 Xuanhuan coins. The soil of Lingxiao City was extraordinary, causing medicinal herbs to grow far faster than elsewhere. Transcendent clans like the Tai Shi clan received a share of immortal soil from the Lingxiao Palace each year. This immortal soil accelerated the growth of medicinal herbs tenfold. Clans with a 1,000-year heritage maintained their own medicinal fields, planting numerous new herbs annually. Modern people consumed ancient herbs. 1,000 years from now, their descendants would consume the new herbs planted today. How could they ever lack millennial essence herbs? The welcoming banquet, disrupted by Tai Shi Yu, naturally ended in an unpleasant atmosphere. The Imperial Court's star spiritual pills are likely refined by the Tai Shi clan. As retainers, we should be able to obtain them at a discounted price. The Tai Shi clan's spiritual talismans and formation manuals are also worth studying. We might find a battle talisman or formation to refine for future use. Li Wei returned to the Wei residence with the Star Day pills. The Star Spiritual Pill was a high-grade spiritual pill, several to 10 times more potent than the Zaihe pill he had refined. To quickly reach the peak of 5-star spiritual master cultivation, he needed to consume the former. Entering the blood-mud space, Li Wei instinctively activated the Dao Ancestor Tai Chi fish to form a cocoon of time, forgetting that Tang Wanzhou had already awakened. Li Wei, seated cross-legged within the cocoon of time, carefully laid out the various top-grade talisman-making materials he had purchased before him. He mixed the talisman ink using blood from an ancient immortal giant beast, immortal soil, and other rare ingredients. Suddenly, the cocoon of time trembled, and a slender, snow-white arm reached inside. Whoosh! Tang Wanzhou entered, one hand behind her back, her eyes filled with curiosity. She then extended the other hand, carefully sensing the profound mysteries of time power. Li Wei's gaze sharpened, and he quickly concealed the Dao Ancestor Tai Chi fish within his robes. The time difference between the inside and outside is about 5-fold. So that's it. I've always wondered why your cultivation speed surpasses even mine, despite my already unparalleled progress. Now I understand. Tang Wanzhou smiled knowingly and sat down opposite Li Wei, saying, I'll cultivate here too. Boom. The cocoon of time shattered like a bursting bubble. Li Wei closed his eyes and sighed. Young lord, your cultivation is too advanced. With my current psychic power, I can't sustain the cocoon of time long enough for you to cultivate inside. Tang Wanzhou made her own assessment, since the strength of the cocoon of time is directly linked to your psychic power, and you, as a 5-star spiritual master, can already sustain it for a moment. Once you reach 6-star, you should be able to support both of us cultivating within it. How long until you break through? I just broke through. Li Wei said with a wry smile, cultivating as a spiritual master isn't that easy. Tang Wanzhou frowned in thought, her slender neck held straight, her hands resting on her knees as she sat upright with the imposing bearing of a true powerhouse. I don't know much about psychic power, so I can't help you. Wait, I remember seeing some extreme spiritual light dew floating high above the sea near the Fusong divine tree. Isn't that a crucial resource for spiritual master cultivation? Why didn't you say so sooner? Li Wei exclaimed, leaping to his feet. He grabbed her wrist and pulled her toward the Tanggu Sea. He felt no reverence for the renowned young Lord Tang Wanzhou, unlike the martial mystic cultivators of the Northern Territory. He saw no reason to be intimidated. He found her personality refreshing, open-minded, generous, and unburdened by trivialities. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel. The Primordial Law. Volume 4, Xuansheng Dao Sect Twin Rice Sect. Chapter 107 362 Beneath the Fusong Tree. 107th of Volume 4. Translator. Shadow Knight AK. Editor. Shadow Knight AK. Only shops under the 1,000-mile mountain Qi sold extreme spiritual light dew. A single drop cost 30 to 40,000 Yongquan coins. This was because the dew was imported from abroad, harvested only in the polar day land west of Yingzhou. It was the primary ingredient for refining the star spiritual pill. Li Wei had settled for the Zaihe pill, which was far less potent, primarily to avoid the exorbitant cost of extreme spiritual light dew. Another reason was that his psychic power cultivation had been insufficient. Clearly, the sea region where the Fusong divine tree stood was also a polar day land. Driven by Tang Wanzhou's profound immortal spiritual qi, the 30-meter-long governor's jade boat soared above the sea like a streak of light. After traversing several thousand miles, equivalent to crossing an entire state, it reached the waters near the Fusong divine tree. As they drew closer, the Fusong divine tree, once a hazy silhouette, grew increasingly real. The texture of its bark became clear, and its terrifying heat penetrated the jade boat's protective light barrier, making the two occupants feel as if they were boiling in water. Without the barrier, even outside the Golden Crow's emergence, Li Wei's current physical strength would be utterly overwhelmed. The scene before them was too wondrous, too majestic. It was impossible to imagine that such colossal trees, brimming with the power to scorch the heavens and boil the seas, could exist in the world. Their heights stretched for countless miles, piercing the void above. Each leaf resembled a moon from beyond the cosmos. Though the jade boat was still far from the tree trunks, it had already entered the canopy of the Fusong divine tree. Tang Wanzhou stood at the bow, gazing upward with a dazed expression, her eyes filled with longing for the great Tao. Li Wei also raised his head. The sky was scattered with countless moon-like leaves, some bearing the texture of leaves, others radiating a soft, lunar glow. High above, layers of thin mist veiled the branches, through which flashes of crimson gold lightning flickered in and out of existence. In this scene, it was easy to feel a sense of awe and longing, a sense of one's own insignificance compared to the boundless great Tao. Even the immortal realm seemed insignificant compared to the Fusong divine tree. The jade boat ceased its forward progress and began ascending, riding the wind and piercing through the mist. At an altitude of 20 to 30,000 meters above the sea, Li Wei saw a golden thread descending straight from the sky. At the bottom of the thread was a golden, radiant droplet, shimmering with brilliant light. The extreme spiritual light dew fell from the leaves of the Fusong divine tree, like liquid light that continuously dissipated, leaving a trail like a golden thread. Unable to reach the sea, it dispersed into clouds of colorful mist halfway down. Li Wei released his psychic field, enveloping and pulling a droplet of extreme spiritual light dew falling a kilometer away, capturing it in a special container. The droplets of extreme spiritual light dew fell irregularly. Their descent was incredibly rapid, each droplet separated by vast distances. Despite spending a considerable amount of time, Li Wei managed to collect only 40 or so droplets. Gradually, he sensed something amiss. The jade boat continued to ascend, now at least 100,000 meters above the sea. A strong sense of unease gripped Li Wei. Leaving aside other dangers, even a Dao Seed Realm martial mystic cultivator could be killed by falling from this height. Moreover, the high-altitude winds were unusually fierce. The jade boat was buffeted by unseen forces, shaking violently. Li Wei stumbled, shouting, "We can't fly any higher. We need to return to the surface immediately. We'll have to make do with what we've gathered for now." Tang Wanzhou. Damn it. Why is she having problems at a time like this? Li Wei staggered towards the bow and patted her. No response. Tang Wanzhou gazed upwards, her gaze fixed on a single leaf of the Fusong divine tree. Her mind was completely absorbed in it, as if she were comprehending something profound. Li Wei shouted loudly, blocked her eyes, and tried every method he could think of. Only her immortal spiritual chi could activate the jade boat's defenses enough to withstand the Fusong divine tree's heat. Otherwise, Li Wei would have long since pushed her aside and taken control of the jade boat himself. Tang Wanzhou. If you don't snap out of it soon, I'm going to have to take action. Li Wei covered her eyes with his palm, his voice urgent. Tang Wanzhou raised her arm, pushed his hand away, and gave him a calm look. What action are you planning to take? Whoosh. The jade boat plunged downwards, carrying the two of them back towards the sea. Li Wei exhaled deeply, stepped back a few paces, and sat down on the edge of the deck. What was that just now? You were completely possessed. Tang Wanzhou stood with her hands clasped behind her back, the Fusong divine tree serving as her backdrop. Bathed in radiant light, she resembled a female emperor beneath the divine tree. If cultivators aren't consumed by obsession, how can they reach the pinnacle of the martial mystic Tao? Just now, I simply entered a state of extreme focus, guided by my intuition. In this state, my comprehension of the Tao accelerates severalfold. Li Wei asked what this state was like. After hearing her description, Li Wei immediately understood. It sounded remarkably similar to the wisdom clarity divine illumination state he entered after practicing the jade void breathing technique. Clearly, individuals of young heavenly emperor level caliber possessed extraordinary talents that went far beyond mere superiority in combat at the same realm. Li Wei turned to gaze at the sea beneath the Fusong divine tree. It wasn't intensely bright but rather a dark crimson, shrouded in mystery and ancient secrets. With his current level of psychic power, Li Wei couldn't actively lock onto spatial coordinates. The jade boat had to return to the sea region Xiaoyang star had initially locked onto, thousands of miles away. Tang Wanzhou gazed at the golden scales shimmering on the surface of the sea and suddenly said, I truly wish we could continue sailing like this forever, to the other side of the sea, to see what lies beyond. Is there another continent, another ancient land? Do they have different customs and cultures? Li Wei had once traveled on the bronze ancient ship, passing through the Tanggu Sea. However, the bronze ancient ship was peculiar, seemingly constantly space jumping. At the time, he was too weak to perceive its navigation patterns. Briefly lost in memory, he said, legend says the Tanggu Sea stretches for millions of miles. Even with our jade boat, safely crossing it would be like climbing to the heavens. Who knows what monstrous creatures of the immortal realm or even transcendence might lurk in the waters far from the Fusong divine tree. And a chill ran down Li Wei's spine as he thought of the boundless soul sea in his mind. Compared to the unknown dangers of the sea, staying in the Lingxiao realm felt strangely reassuring. Tang Wanzhou pushed the jade boat to its limits, finally returning to their starting point in the sea just before the golden crow emerged from the horizon. Back in the blood-mud space, Li Wei finally had time to carefully examine the 46 drops of extreme spiritual light dew he had collected. He was thrilled to discover that each drop contained several times more energy than the extreme spiritual light dew he had obtained from Hidden 2. The heat was intense enough to pierce through ordinary spiritual artifacts. He was now faced with a dilemma. With his current level of psychic power and pill Tao cultivation, the success rate of refining a normal star spiritual pill was already extremely low. Using extreme spiritual light dew, which contained several times more energy, would make the success rate even lower. While he could always go back to collect more, the time spent traveling back and forth would be considerable. Moreover, Tang Wanzhou's condition was unstable, posing a significant risk during collection. Furthermore, the 14 supplementary medicines needed to refine the star spiritual pill were incredibly expensive. Zhenhai Guanwu had spent hundreds of thousands of Yongquan coins to purchase only 30 sets of these medicines. Li Wei suppressed his urge to immediately attempt pill refinement. Instead, he decided to study more pill Tao classics before proceeding. He recondensed the time cocoon. Li Wei sat on the ground, consumed a piece of 4-colored immortal moss to temper his body, and focused his energy on rune crafting. Runes were divided into two categories, storable and non-storable. Over 90% of runes were non-storable. In other words, spiritual masters could only temporarily draw them using psychic power spirit light. As the spirit light dissipated, the rune's power would vanish. The speed of rune casting depended entirely on the speed of drawing. Battle technique runes, in particular, were notoriously difficult to store. Most could only be drawn temporarily during combat. It could be said that every battle technique rune capable of being stored was a closely guarded secret of a major power, a cornerstone of their heritage never to be shared. The ability to store a rune meant it could be crafted into a talisman and stockpiled in large quantities. During combat, these talismans could be unleashed instantly. If enough talismans were prepared, even high-level martial mystic cultivators would be forced to retreat. Li Wei's Divine Speed Talismans and Bozi Locking Immobilization Talismans were both learned from his Spirit Tablet Master, and were auxiliary, storable talismans. To bear powerful runes, the talisman paper had to be exceptionally refined. Previously, Li Wei had crafted his Divine Speed and Immobilization Talismans using Divine Cauldron wood left behind by Zhenhai Guanwu. Now, after spending a fortune, he had purchased a large piece of transcendent leather, which he cut into 74 strips, each 6 inches long and 1 inch wide. Using spiritual light flame, he carefully refined the leather strips until they were as thin as paper. To craft an immobilization talisman, auxiliary materials like mind-stabilizing sand and soul wood had to be added to enhance its power and improve the success rate of drawing the rune. He took out one of the talisman papers and placed it before him. He regulated his breathing, entering the wisdom clarity divine illumination state, his mind utterly focused. Hiss. Li Wei extended his right index finger as a brush, a wisp of spirit light flying from his brow and merging with the talismanic ink he had prepared earlier. The ink swirled around his finger in concentric circles. Immobilization talismans had different grades. The higher the grade, the more complex the runes and the greater the difficulty, with each layer of complexity building upon the last. As a 5-star spiritual master, Li Wei naturally aimed to draw an immobilization talisman capable of immobilizing a 5th heaven Dao Seed Realm martial mystic cultivator. Such a talisman required 5 layers of runes to be drawn on the talisman paper, each layer without a single mistake. Boom. As he drew the second layer, the talisman paper exploded. Li Wei, already accustomed to this, immediately grabbed a second sheet and started over. Boom. Boom. On the 4th attempt, he finally succeeded. Li Wei immediately released the golden crow flame to temper the talisman, solidifying the runes onto the paper. The runes flowed across the paper like clouds and water, rising and falling with an unfathomable mystery. Gazing at his masterpiece, Li Wei smiled faintly. Long Shangsen should be at the peak of the 5th heaven Dao Seed Realm, coupled with her inheritor constitution. This immobilization talisman, once applied, might not kill her outright, but it should hold her for a breath or two. And in a breath or two, life or death can be decided. But hitting her with a talisman won't be easy. And she might have protective treasures. I'll need to craft 2 more. Li Wei's psychic power in his spirit realm was mostly sealed within the runes, requiring meditation to recover. Over the next few days, he spent considerable time crafting 2 more immobilization talismans and 1 divine speed talisman. Li Wei then began studying how to incorporate the secret characters from the 6-Jaw secret incantation into the immobilization talismans to enhance their power. He held the yellow dragon sword, channeling spiritual qi through it. Whoosh! 9 ancient Dao characters emerged on the sword's surface. The J character clears the mind and dispels evil. The Ln character, similar to puppet technique. The Qian character grants instant teleportation and rapid escape. The Xing move character can be integrated into the divine speed talisman. The Zhen character enhances the power of the great sun moon stars formation. The Do character creates spiritual light armor, transforming a spiritual master into a martial mystic apprentice. Even without cultivating martial mystic Dao or physical strength, I could engage in close quarters combat. All that remains are the Taoist secret characters, Bing, Soldier, Jia, All, and Lai formation. Li Wei believed that the 9-character 6-Jaw secret incantation on the yellow dragon sword had been forged into the blade by the sages of the Chan sect. The methods he had discovered so far were likely only the tip of the iceberg. Just as the character for move couldn't simply be used to enhance the power of the divine speed talisman, these 9 characters were more like the fundamental sources of 9 different technique laws. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel. The Primordial Law. Volume 4, Xuansheng Dao Sect Twin Rice Sect. Chapter 108 363 Intercepted by Lord Zhang again. 108th of Volume 4. Translator, Shadow Knight AK. Editor, Shadow Knight AK. Li Wei experimented word by word, searching for a secret character that could merge with the runes of the body-fixing immobilization talisman. After hundreds of failed attempts, he discovered that the character, Jia, all connected most smoothly with the runes of the body-fixing talisman, with the least resistance, suggesting the possibility of fusion. The next step was to continue researching and experimenting to find the method of fusion. Of course, he couldn't test this on the transcendent leather talisman paper, he wasn't that extravagant. Boom. Boom. Hundreds of failures, yet his mind remained intensely focused. After 3 days and 4 nights of relentless work, he finally succeeded. The spiritual light talisman rune stabilized before him, suspended in midair. Li Wei held his breath, daring not even to exhale. A hearty, unrestrained laugh echoed through the blood-mud space, startling Tang Wanzhou, who was in the midst of cultivation. She pondered silently, sensing a dark, demonic side to Li Wei. Next came another period of frustration for Li Wei. Drawing the runes was difficult, but imprinting them onto the talisman paper was even harder. In the end, he exhausted all 58 remaining sheets of transcendent leather talisman paper, managing to create only one, Jia, all-character body-fixing talisman. Li Wei pushed open the door, his head throbbing violently. Bloodshot eyes, pale lips, and an overall air of exhaustion made him appear dazed and unsteady. The intense 7 or 8 day period of talisman crafting within the cocoon of time had taken a heavy toll on his psychic energy. It's all right, he muttered to himself, once I've found the right method, the success rate will only improve. Clutching 3 body-fixing talismans, a divine swiftness talisman, and the precious all-character body-fixing talisman, Li Wei's confidence soared. Tang Wanzhou's words rang true, a spiritual master's combat strength hinges on thorough preparation. The setting sun cast long shadows. Tonight was the time he and Xuanhuan had agreed upon to meet and obtain the list from her. He underwent simultaneous transformations in his bones, muscles, and gaze, disguising himself as Zuo Ning. He prepared to keep his appointment, intending to satisfy his hunger along the way. Before he could even leave the Cloud Pavilion district, a voice echoed from the silent alleyway, "You've shown remarkable patience. At least 3 factions in Yongquan City are currently searching for you." Li Wei stopped and looked to his right. Tai Shiyu stood alone in the center of the alley, as if he had been waiting there for a long time. When Li Wei had emerged from the Weiyi residence, he had noticed a retainer from a neighboring residence rushing towards the ancestral manor to report his emergence. It was clear the retainer had been sent to inform Tai Shiyu of his return. Li Wei clasped his hands in a respectful bow. "Greetings, First Commander. Are you speaking to me?" Tai Shiyu's gaze sharpened. "Why is the Phoenix Terrace investigating you? Who exactly are you? Let me remind you, I saw everything that happened at Pale Moon Square that day." Li Wei remained composed, confident that Tai Shiyu had already investigated him. He replied calmly, "Everyone has a past. As of now, I am young Master Bai's retainer." "Haha, you're quite the tough one, kid. Facing me alone, enduring my psychic field, and not even flinching. No wonder Tai Shi Bai values you so highly. I won't scare you anymore." Tai Shiyu retracted his psychic field. "If the Phoenix Terrace is investigating you because of your past with the Earth Wolf King's army, I can help you resolve this crisis. Additionally, Shi Zhoujai and Shi Luyu seem to know you've joined the Tai Shi clan and are lying in wait outside Cloud Pavilion District. I can also take care of them for you." Tai Shiyu had clearly misunderstood, but his ability to detect the 2 Dharma Kings lying in ambush outside the district demonstrated his formidable psychic power and vigilance. This was a formidable individual. Li Wei responded cautiously, "First Commander, are you trying to recruit me as your disciple, or do you need something from me? Talking to a smart person is so much easier." Tai Shiyu said, "Tai Shi Bai considers you a brother. If I were to force you into my tutelage, it would make things difficult for all 3 of us. But if your brother were in trouble, would you help him?" Li Wei asked, "Is young Master Bai in danger?" Tai Shiyu's expression turned grave. He sighed. "For a great clan, the person who ascends to the position of clan head must possess exceptional wisdom and ability, of course. But even more crucial is that they must be upright, conduct themselves with integrity, maintain impeccable character, and have a clear sense of right and wrong. If the upper beam is crooked, the lower beam will be crooked as well, and even the most magnificent and sturdy building will collapse. As for conspiracies, dark schemes, and bloody underhanded tactics, those unsavory tasks must be left to someone else. Tai Shi Bai is the future clan head of the Taishi clan. He lacks neither ability nor talent. However, his judgment of character is still lacking, making him easily deceived. This is especially true when it comes to women." Li Wei's heart skipped a beat. "First Commander, are you referring to?" Tai Shiyu looked at him. "Long Shangsen. My prejudice against her isn't because she comes from the dragon sect. It's because I've seen too many women. No matter how pure and saintly they pretend to be, they can't fool my eyes. She's been intimate with no fewer than 3 men. Li Wei's face showed shock. "Impossible. You can question my motives, but you can't question the weight of my nickname, Qingshi Yu, History of Love Feather." Tai Shiyu continued, "Tonight, she'll accompany me to the West Sea Royal Manor for a banquet. On the way back, she'll be ambushed. I'll subdue her, and you'll take her out of Lingxiao City and get rid of her far away." Li Wei said, if this is exposed, you want me to take the blame. Tai Shi Yu nodded. As a retainer, you must bear the burden for your young master. As a brother, can you bear to see him ruined by such a woman? I can't do this myself. If I fought him, it would be internal strife within the Tai Shi clan. Why not just kill her? Li Wei asked. You're ruthless. Tai Shi Yu's expression shifted from surprise to a bitter smile. I'd love to end this once and for all, but Brother Bai has already fallen for Long Shangsen. If he found out the truth, his personality would make him sever ties with us. If he were like me, able to let go easily, I wouldn't bother playing the villain. But he's a man of deep emotions. A man like that, falling for a fickle woman, is destined to suffer greatly. Forget it, just name your price. You and Brother Bai can talk about loyalty, but with me, it's all about business. Li Wei found himself somewhat admiring the first commander of the Tai Shi clan. He was doing this not for his family, nor did he know that Long Shangsen was involved in even more terrifying demon clan activities. He was acting solely for his brother's sake. You're asking me to betray young Master Bai, Li Wei said. 10-star spiritual pills, Tai Shi Yu countered, naming an exorbitant price. Young Master Bai and I are like brothers. He's been good to me. And Fairy Long's true nature is just your word against hers. Who knows what your real intentions are? Tai Shi Yu frowned, thinking his persuasion had failed. First Commander, how about adding a bit more? 20-star spiritual pills might just be enough to make me compromise my principles. Tai Shi Yu was speechless. He finally realized the other man was haggling. 20-star spiritual pills were worth 2 million Yongquan coins to most people. But for Tai Shi Yu, it was just a batch of pills he could refine himself using the Imperial Court's resources. So the price was acceptable. If this is exposed, Tai Shi Yu began. Li Wei replied, I take money to do a job. I'll take the blame and won't reveal a single word about young Master Yu. When the time comes, I'll ensure your safe departure from Lingxiao City. You won't have to worry about anything. After agreeing on a meeting place, Tai Shi Yu and Li Wei parted ways. One left the district, the other returned to his residence. Li Wei surveyed the streets and buildings near the Cloud Pavilion district's gate, searching for Shi Zhoujai and Shi Luyu's hiding place. To his surprise, he noticed several spies with considerable cultivation immediately released message-carrying insects upon his appearance. Li Wei dared not make any rash moves. The fact that these spies could monitor the district where the Tai Shi clan resided without being eliminated suggested their backgrounds were far from ordinary. Whoosh! Li Wei activated his movement technique, swiftly dodging away. He weaved through the bustling crowds, constantly changing his clothes. He didn't bother with disguise. He didn't want too many people to know that Zuo Ning, who was proficient in the disguise technique, was involved. Xuanhuan had given Li Wei an address in Azure Cloud Market, located in East City. Therefore, despite taking a circuitous route, he continued heading east. As dusk deepened, lanterns hanging from the eaves on both sides of the street began to glow. Strangely, the bustling street ahead was completely deserted. Li Wei sensed something amiss and turned to flee, but 100 yards behind him, Zhang Ning, clad in a white official robe and riding a flaming exotic beast, emerged from the shimmering light of a formation. The exotic beast had feathered wings, a bird's head, and a beast's body, a truly majestic creature. Spiritual chi white feathers drifted down from the sky. Footsteps echoed as Phoenix Terrace's hidden experts burst from the shops lining the street, each shop fortified with formations. Half were female officials, the other half eunuch officials. Li Wei spotted Xuanhuan among them, forming a formation with 6 other female officials. Her eyes were filled with urgency and worry, yet also a helpless pain. She had desperately wanted to warn Li Wei in advance, but had never found an opportunity. Zhang Ning, her face veiled, spoke, Master Zuo Ning, we meet again. This time, if you attempt to flee, you will be executed without mercy. No one in Lingxiao City can escape Phoenix Terrace's pursuit. Boom. Boom. 2 elderly women materialized, unleashing 2 Dao heart manifestations that crashed down upon Li Wei, binding him in countless strands of spiritual qi. Li Wei remained utterly unfazed, turning to Zhang Ning. Lord Zhang, is there some misunderstanding between us? Why do you always greet me with threats of violence? Zhang Ning replied, have you forgotten your actions at South Yan Pass? You can explain yourself at the Phoenix Terrace prison. Take him away. If he resists or tries to escape, execute him immediately. Wait, Li Wei said quickly, I'm a retainer of the Tai Shi clan. He continued, I admit I shouldn't have knocked out that attendant hall official at South Yan Pass and disguised myself as him. But I was driven mad by longing. I just wanted to see Yuea once. Yet I knew I couldn't meet her openly. The female officials of Phoenix Terrace are forbidden from contact with men. I had no choice. Yuea, I truly had no choice. I can't bear this hiding anymore. Leave Phoenix Terrace, and I'll provide for you. His gaze fell on Xuanhuan. Combined with his exhaustion from the day, his pale lips, and the lingering bloodshot veins in his eyes, he perfectly embodied the image of a tormented man, unable to sleep or eat, consumed by unrequited love. The female officials present who were close to Xuanyu were deeply moved. After all, Zhang Ning only knew that Li Wei had disguised himself as an eunuch official to send messages to Xuanyu, and that the two had secretly met at a noodle stall. No one knew who had truly opposed Phoenix Terrace at South Yan Pass. Even if Li Wei had used a mental imprint on Xuanyu, it could be explained as a desperate measure to prevent their secret meetings from being discovered and punished by Phoenix Terrace. Of course, that depended on Xuanyu's cooperation. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel. The Primordial Law. Volume 4, Shuangsheng Dao Sect Twin Rice Sect. Chapter 109 364 Exposed. 109th of Volume 4. Translator, Shadow Knight AK. Editor, Shadow Knight AK. The dim twilight hung like a heavy veil over the world. Lanterns glowed under the eaves, casting an eerie silence over the long street. All eyes followed Li Wei's gaze, settling on Xuanyu. Some were shocked, others disbelieving. The Phoenix Terrace's large contingent of female officials and eunuch officials, having formed formations and activated their spiritual artifacts, had come to hunt down a major heretical sect enemy. They had even cleared the area in advance, meticulously planning their ambush. Yet, instead, they had stumbled into a colossal joke. Yes, a joke. A female official of the Phoenix Terrace secretly meeting with a man should have been handled discreetly. Instead, it had become public knowledge. More importantly, this female official was none other than the closest attendant of the renowned Feather Immortal. Their mission to capture a heretical sect demon man had turned into a case of catching a woman in the act of adultery. Zhang Ning frowned at Xuanyu. Even with her composure and wisdom, she found herself at a loss. Because, knowing Xuanyu as she did, the fact that the girl hadn't immediately drawn her sword and struck down Zuo Ning spoke volumes. Clearly, during her 2 years at the Calamity Crossing Temple, everyone had been living their own stories. Zhang Ning suddenly realized that Xuanyu possessed her own independent will, not merely a subordinate to her. It was impossible for her to live solely for Zhang Ning forever. The female officials of the Phoenix Terrace had not always been forbidden from contact with men. This rule had only been established a decade ago, after the Shoutian Edict was issued. All humans possess the 7 emotions and 6 desires. The more something is forbidden, the stronger the backlash becomes. While many in the crowd gnashed their teeth in hatred, feeling that Zuo Ning and Xuanyu had sullied the Phoenix Terrace, even more wore expressions of envy and admiration. They saw Zuo Ning's daring act of coming to Lingxiao City and publicly revealing the truth before countless witnesses as an act of self-sacrifice. This courage and audacity held a unique romanticism, reminiscent of the heart-wrenching tragedies recounted by storytellers, shocking, yet deeply moving. Li Wei knew that Lingxiao City might not withstand the great calamity looming in 3 months. He saw this as an opportunity to rescue Xuanyu in advance and send her away. While it was undeniable that he had used her, saving her from this pit of despair would bring him some measure of inner peace. Li Wei walked toward Xuanyu. The martial mystic cultivators of the Phoenix Terrace exchanged glances, looking at Zhang Ning, unsure whether to intervene. Even the 2 highly skilled old women were struggling with what to do. If it were any other girl, they would have harbored doubts. But this was Xuanyu, known for her straightforward and stubborn personality, and her unwavering loyalty to the imperial court and Zhang Ning. How could she possibly be involved? The formation of 7 female officials, including Xuanyu, had already dispersed. 2 of the younger ones had slightly reddened eyes, showing no hostility toward Li Wei. Come with me. Li Wei extended a hand, his gaze filled with conviction. Of course, Xuanyu knew Li Wei's earlier words were meant to deceive others and conceal the truth. Yet she remained dazed. Her eyes swollen and red, she shook her head. I can't betray Miss. Whether what you said is true or not, I can't leave the Phoenix Terrace. Li Wei sighed, frustrated by her stubbornness. He tried again. After what happened today, staying at the Phoenix Terrace means certain death. Your miss can't protect you. Come with me. I swear, as long as I draw breath, I won't let you die. Xuanyu could hear the sincerity in his words and believed in his abilities. Even though she knew he wasn't referring to romantic love, tears still involuntarily streamed down her face. Clang. The Jingyu feather sword flew out and landed in Zhang Ning's hand. Zhang Ning's eyes were clear and cold, unclouded by appearances. She refused to believe Zuo Ning had nothing to do with the events at Southern Yan Pass. Xuanyu, with her simple mind, had undoubtedly been manipulated. However, Xuanyu had followed her for over a decade. Zhang Ning had to protect not only Xuanyu's life but also her dignity, ensuring she still had a place at the Phoenix Terrace. Therefore, Zuo Ning could neither be killed nor released. She needed a foolproof plan. The female officials around Xuanhuan had been selected for the Phoenix Terrace as children and shared a deep bond. Seeing Zhang Ning draw her sword, they all knelt down to plead for mercy. Lord Zhang, spare their lives. Xuanhuan was just momentarily confused. Zuo Ning. At least he showed some courage. He's not a coward. Zhang Ning secretly admired Zuo Ning's cunning. He was a master of manipulating hearts and emotions. When did I say I wanted to kill them? She asked. Zuo Ning, even if you had nothing to do with the Southern Yan Pass incident, your strength alone qualifies you for the Jiazi register. Yet Phoenix Terrace hasn't recorded your information. Anyone on the blacklist who enters Lingxiao City without reporting themselves is generally considered a rebel spy by the imperial court. You wouldn't want to harm Xuanhuan, would you? Come, let's go to Phoenix Terrace. Li Wei hadn't expected Zhang Ning to play this card. He was still pondering how to respond when the sound of approaching carriage wheels echoed in the distance. An ornate exotic beast carriage gradually drew closer, followed by 2 rows of guards. Taishi Bai's voice rang out from within the carriage. Lord Zhang, Zuo Ning is a retainer of the Taishi clan, brought to Lingxiao City by me from the general's mansion. Since you can't produce evidence linking him to the heretical cult bloodbath at Southern Yan Pass, I must ask for a favor. As for registering him in the Jiazi register, I will personally take him to Phoenix Terrace tomorrow. Taishi Bai transmitted to Zhang Ning via spiritual energy. This favor is also being requested by the West Sea Palace. I must take him there immediately. If I have offended you in any way, please forgive me. Li Wei wanted to take Xuanhuan with him, but she was utterly stubborn, shaking her head vehemently. Inside the carriage, Taishi Bai said loudly, Zuo Ning, you needn't worry about her. She's Lord Yang's maid. If Lord Zhang can't even handle such a minor matter, no one at Phoenix Terrace will truly follow her in the future. The martial mystic cultivators of Phoenix Terrace retreated like the ebbing tide. Li Wei boarded the carriage, but before he could speak, Taishi Bai rebuked him first. Why didn't you discuss such a major matter with me? If I had known earlier, there might have been a chance to resolve this privately with Phoenix Terrace and Zhang Ning. Now that it's been brought into the open, we can only handle it by the book. Li Wei couldn't tell him the truth, so he could only force a bitter smile. How could I bring such a matter into the open? Love between a man and a woman, she has feelings, and you have loyalty. What's wrong with bringing it into the open? If you had told me earlier, I would have definitely helped you. Taishi Bai paused, then added, if you had believed Zhang Ning just now and gone to Phoenix Terrace, you would have been thrown into the deepest prison. She wants to save Xuanhuan, so she would have forced you to take the blame. Don't be deceived by Zhang Ning's beautiful appearance, she's a highly manipulative woman, far from weak. Moreover, she holds a great secret, making her far from ordinary, even Taishi Yu dares not provoke her. Li Wei knew perfectly well that going to the Phoenix Terrace was a death sentence. But it wasn't Zhang Ning who would kill him, it was Yao Qian. Even though Li Wei had a way to avoid going, he was deeply grateful for Taishi Bai's righteous intervention. Taishi Bai truly considered him a friend, yet Li Wei had concealed so much, and a sense of guilt welled up within him. Taishi Bai said, the mysterious person who had that child deliver the letter to me at Southern Yan Pass. Was that you? Li Wei's heart skipped a beat. He realized that Taishi Bai's only weakness was his emotions, his intellect was no less sharp than Taishi Yu's. Everyone had their own insurmountable hurdle. The carriage moved slowly. After passing the long street, the outside world grew lively and bustling. Li Wei remained calm and admitted, how did you figure it out? Taishi Bai sighed. I hadn't suspected you at first, but if you had already entered Southern Yan Pass, you became the prime suspect. To deliver that letter, you would have needed to know in advance that I would return to the city that day. And you, precisely, were one of the few who knew. You lured me to rescue Zhou Bida's family, and Zhou Bida is a member of the Zhuli clan. Are you also a member? The Zhuli hidden sect. Isn't the Earthwolf King's army under your Zhuli clan's command? Li Wei took a deep breath, met his gaze, and slowly nodded. Zhang Xin's secret, that he's an elder of the heretical cult mansion, was revealed to me by Vice Commander Zhou. He had uncovered a great deal of evidence. Unfortunately, Zhang Xin sensed this in advance and seized Vice Commander Zhou's family, using them to blackmail him. Taishi Bai asked, so he dared not report this to the general's mansion. Southern Yan Pass is riddled with spies and hidden agents from the attendant hall. Reporting to the general's mansion would only alert Zhang Xin. Before the general's mansion could even begin an investigation, Zhang Xin would already know where his wife and daughter were being held. Li Wei continued, young Master Bai should understand. Vice Commander Zhou deeply loved his wife and daughter, and he possessed the integrity of a human race martial mystic cultivator. Unable to abandon his family or betray the general's mansion, he could only seek outside help. He turned to the Zhuli clan, secretly requesting their aid in finding his wife and daughter. Alas! Zhang Xin was too cautious and cunning. Nothing in Southern Yan Pass escaped his notice. He once again gained the upper hand, summoning the junior secretary of the Phoenix Terrace and turning the tables on Vice Commander Zhou, falsely accusing him and ultimately causing his unjust death. That's right. Vice Commander Zhou was a member of the Zhu Li clan, but when have we ever opposed the imperial court? For over a decade, while the world was embroiled in war, Li province remained peaceful. Within the imperial court, countless descendants of the ancient myriad sects hold positions of power, don't they? I swear on the honor of the Zhu Li gods that Vice Commander Zhou, despite his military career and high position, has never provided the Zhu Li clan with any intelligence detrimental to the imperial court. Have you uncovered any evidence of his treason? Li Wei deliberately mentioned only the Zhu Li clan, downplaying the Zhu Li hidden sect. To outsiders, they seemed identical. But they were definitely not the same. Tai Shi Bai said, I never said Vice Commander Zhou betrayed the imperial court. Why are you getting so worked up? Li Wei replied, am I worked up? Tai Shi Bai stared at him for a long moment. In truth, Vice Commander Zhou never concealed his Zhu Li heritage from my father. He joined my father's personal guard at the age of 25. If my father hadn't trusted him completely, how could he have promoted him to deputy commander? How could he have entrusted him with the entire defense of southern Yan Pass? Li Wei had long anticipated this. Zhou Bida had sacrificed his wife and daughter rather than betray Tai Shi Qingkang, a testament to his deep respect. Under such circumstances, how could he have kept many secrets hidden? Tai Shi Bai grasped Li Wei's shoulder, his expression earnest. I'm 41 this year, a few years older than you. We could easily be brothers. I have a few heartfelt words I need to share. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel. Novel. The Primordial Law. Volume 4, Xuansheng Dao Sect Twin Rice Sect. Chapter 110 365 The West Sea King's Mansion. 110th of Volume 4. Translator. Shadow Knight AK. Editor. Shadow Knight AK. Tai Shi Bai said, the world today is in turmoil. Only by uniting can the human clan's major powers defeat the demon clan and counter the heretical sect's challenges. If you've come for Zhuang Yu, I'll do everything in my power to help you two lovers be together. I respect your loyalty and your courage to love and hate. But if you're a spy sent by the Zuaoqiu clan to infiltrate Lingxiao City and replace Zhou Bida within the Tai Shi clan, tell me the truth now. Considering our past acquaintance, I'll let you leave the city. I'll take responsibility for Phoenix Terrace. Consider it a favor to a friend, a contribution to the human clan's unity. Li Wei asked, you'll believe anything I say? Tai Shi Bai smiled. In times of chaos, deception and ruthlessness prevail. Humanity is eroded, and hearts become inscrutable. Perhaps I'm too trusting and sentimental. But I refuse to believe that every sincere gesture is met with hypocrisy and ingratitude. If even once sincerity can be met with sincerity, it's enough to fill me with hope and love for this world. Li Wei felt even more conflicted. He found it difficult to lie to someone who had placed their trust in him. He said, young Master Bai, rest assured. I am neither a spy sent by the Zuaoqiu clan nor the Zhu Li tribe, and I would never harm the Tai Shi clan. I, too, deeply desire the unity of the human clan. Tai Shi Bai breathed a sigh of relief, the worry in his eyes fading. He smiled. Those words are enough. From now on, don't call me young Master Bai. With your innate talent and potential, you are more than worthy to be my brother. Let's not dwell on what's already happened. There's a way we might be able to make Phoenix Terrace compromise. Li Wei asked, what way? Zhang Ning didn't ride an exotic beast back to Phoenix Terrace. She kept her Dao heart manifestation within a 1 zhang radius as she walked down the street in silence, lost in thought. Zhuang Yu followed behind her, remaining silent throughout. After an unknown amount of time, Zhang Ning spoke. You've been with me since you were 9, haven't you? Yes. Zhuang Yu replied. I can't control what others do, but I can still make decisions about your life. But Zuo Ning. I can't quite put my finger on him. I sense his intentions aren't pure, yet his determination to take you away when he left, his genuine desire to save you, was undeniable. If you're truly set on him, I won't force you to stay. Miss. Zhuang Yu knelt before her, tears streaming down her face. I won't leave. I'll stay with you for the rest of my life. Zuo Ning. He's nothing but a harmful scoundrel. I'll make him understand, and I'll explain everything to you too. Get up at once. Zhang Ning snapped. Not far away, a figure flickered into existence. Zhe Shantong appeared before Zhang Ning, complaining, you asked me to handle something, but then you cancelled the operation without even informing me. Zhe Shantong had been hired by Zhang Ning to deal with Zuo Ning, responsible for a different direction. I sent someone to notify you. Zhang Ning retorted. Zhe Shantong said, then it seems I missed it. I ran into Li Jiao just now and got delayed for a moment. Li Jiao was Yin Shiyi. Li Jiao of the Zhu Li tribe. Zhang Ning asked. Zhe Shantong replied, he saved me at the Hidden Dragon Lantern Festival, so I'm very familiar with his aura. I was originally releasing my intent to sense what was happening over here, but I unexpectedly discovered him. Zhang Ning wore a thoughtful expression. Li Jufu is here, and Li Jiao is here too. They're both from the Zhu Li hidden sect. Doesn't that seem a bit unusual? Are you suggesting the Zhu Li hidden sect is planning something? Or perhaps they're just here to join the excitement surrounding the ninefold Dao image diagram, Zhe Shantong said. Perhaps, Zhang Ning replied. She sent a spiritual qi message to Zhuang Yu, go find Chen Chuan and ask him what the Zhu Li hidden sect is really up to and how many hidden ones have come. Be sure to intimidate him. Tell him we have concrete intelligence and that if he doesn't tell the truth, I'll report him to the Phoenix Terrace. Zhuang Yu's eyes immediately cleared. She hurried off, realizing the Zhu Li hidden sect must be planning something big. After all, their hidden ones had arrived. Zhe Shantong said, tonight is Song Yulu's 60th birthday, and the entire city is buzzing with excitement. He's considered the #1 cultivator below the Lingxiao realm's immortal realm. The demon child senior brother from Calamity Crossing Temple will definitely bring the ninefold Dao image diagram to challenge him. This battle will be watched by the entire world. Do you want to go see it? Tai Shi Bai said, in the 2 days you've been in seclusion, 3 groups from the West Sea Royal Manor's Song clan have secretly sought me out, all because of you. If not for the closed-door meditation, sign on your door, I would have forced my way in long ago. Why? Because of the ghost mother. Did I cause trouble? Li Wei asked. Tai Shi Bai waved his hand and chuckled. Far from causing trouble, you might have actually helped them greatly. Song Qingli has regained some of her consciousness. If that's the case, what do they want? If it's a thanks gift, they could have just sent it over directly, Li Wei said with a smile. Tai Shi Bai replied, as far as I know, Song Qingli is the most powerful ghost mother among all of them. No one knows whether she resisted the strange power through her own formidable cultivation or if it was related to your battle with her. The Song clan sent people to ask you to confirm this. I recall you using a psychic technique called Clear Mind, Purge Evil, on the post ship. Was it related to this? Li Wei shook his head. I've seen ghost mothers and ghost infants, they're practically monsters, their bodies completely mutated. It's not just a matter of consciousness, it's more like they've been afflicted by corpse poison, rare medicine, or curses. A simple psychic technique wouldn't have that kind of power. Tai Shi Bai nodded. The Grand Temple of Eternal Harmony shares the same view. But since the Song clan has come seeking your help, you can use this opportunity to make demands. Can the Song clan really influence the decisions of the Phoenix Terrace? Li Wei asked. Tai Shi Bai replied, the king of the Western Sea is second only to the 3 palace masters. Remember, the 10,000 Western Sea slaves are the Lingxiao realm's most formidable iron army. They were once known as, the Western Sea slaves never fall, Lingxiao city never falls. Over a decade ago, when the Western Sea slaves were at their peak, even the 2nd and 3rd palace masters had to treat the king of the Western Sea with respect. The Kengyuan battle was a crushing defeat for the Western Sea slaves, with 30,000 casualties. This defeat marked the beginning of widespread chaos across the realm. Without it, no one in the 28 provinces of Lingxiao would have dared to rebel. At South Yan Pass, the giant spirit army, composed of 8,005 sea soldiers, formed a formation. Their combined battle intent and formations coalesced into an ancient immortal giant, led by Tai Shi Qingkang, giving them the power to confront even transcendent beings. At their peak, half of the 10,000 Western Sea slaves were 5 sea soldiers. Tai Shi Bai continued, the current clan head of the Song clan, Song Yulo, is Song Qingli's uncle and the greatest expert in the Lingxiao realm below the immortal realm. Tonight is his 60th birthday, and he certainly wouldn't want any scandals. If you can cure Song Qingli, you'll be doing him a huge favor. So, as long as your conditions aren't too outrageous, he'll definitely agree. You've heard the secret about Song Yulo and the 3rd palace master, haven't you? I haven't heard anything about that. Li Wei replied. Tai Shi Bai said, Song Yulo is the 3rd palace master's male companion for this 60-year cycle. It's an open secret in Lingxiao city, though of course, it's never discussed in public. Slap. Li Wei slapped his forehead, overwhelmed by the sheer volume of information. He really wanted to find Zhenhai Guanwu and ask them about their disciple selection criteria back then. The West Sea Royal Manor was located in Azure Cloud Market in the eastern part of the city. When Tai Shi Bai and Li Wei arrived, dusk had fallen, and the market streets were choked with carriages of all sizes. Every prominent figure in Lingxiao city, officials from various government departments and provincial administrations, had either come in person to offer birthday greetings or sent retainers with gifts. Tai Shi Bai and Li Wei abandoned their carriage and walked the 3 miles to the manor's main gate. Strange, Li Wei mused, why would Zhuang Yu choose the West Sea Royal Manor as our meeting place? And should I take this opportunity to visit the address Zhuang Yu gave me? As he pondered this, a carriage bearing the Xuanhuan banner floated several dozen feet above the ground, like a cloud bridge, before descending gracefully in front of the manor's magnificent entrance. A majestic and imposing figure emerged from the carriage. Even from behind, Li Wei recognized him as Xuanhuan Ling, the previous clan head of the Xuanhuan clan. How did he get here? Tai Shibai secretly observed Li Wei's expression. Surely you know that Xuanhuan Ling and Song Yulo have been lifelong friends for decades. Among their generation, they were nearly invincible, true heroes who admired each other. I prefer to cultivate in seclusion and am rather ignorant of worldly affairs. Li Wei scanned the people accompanying Xuanhuan Ling, hoping to spot Xuanhuan Hongting. Old Bai, this must be young Master Zuo Ning, right? I am Song Lin. Song Lin, one of the fifth-generation representatives of the West Sea Royal Manor, had personally come to greet them. He was Song Qingli's elder brother and had been waiting for them for some time. Li Wei returned the greeting. Tai Shibai chuckled. No need for such formalities. Song Lin is like family. That's right. We've been fighting since we were kids. Why don't we get down to business first? Song Lin, deeply worried about Song Qingli, led them quickly into the manor, bypassing the noisy and chaotic front courtyards and halls. They passed through a covered pavilion and a towering courtyard wall that resembled a city wall, following a winding mountain path that led into one of the manor's spirit mountains. Ancient trees grew densely, and jagged rocks jutted out from the mountainside. The direct descendants of the West Sea Royal Manor's Daoseed realm resided here. Some of the residences were hosting private banquets tonight, inviting only their closest friends. Song Qingli's residence was located halfway up the mountain, shrouded by formations. Only one clan elder, who had cultivated a Dao fruit, stood guard here. On the way up, Tai Shibai had informed Song Lin about Li Wei's situation, hoping the Song clan could intervene and resolve the matter. Song Lin, the third most powerful figure within the Song clan's 60-year lifespan, naturally held considerable influence. Whether brother Zuo Ning can help Qingli or not, the Song clan will recognize this favor as long as he's willing to lend a hand. Phoenix Terrace is a minor matter. If he truly succeeds in helping Qingli, there will be another reward. The three entered the room. Song Qingli lay on the bed, bound by two spiritual artifact iron chains. The purplish-black vein patterns on her skin had faded considerably. Her eyes were open, her gaze vacant, her pupils a dark crimson, yet she remained relatively calm. Song Lin clenched his fists tightly, his face etched with worry. For the past 2 days, she's been like this most of the time, unresponsive to any calls. Only occasionally does she recognize people. After midnight, she undergoes a terrifying transformation, her screams piercing and ghastly, like a demon's wail. How could this have happened? The mother-child spring might truly be a ghost infant spring. I heard that the ghost mothers imprisoned in the Grand Temple of Eternal Harmony have even resorted to cannibalism, devouring each other. It's utterly horrifying. Brother Zuo Ning. Please. Blank. End of chapter. Subscribe to the MTL World at Malworld 1 YouTube channel.